What is going on, people? I thought I'd try something different. I'm going to do a live top five. I'm going to do a top five of my favorite. I've done it before, but I thought see if anybody comes and wants to talk movies. But I'm going to do my top five uh, Halloween movies. The top movies that I watch every Halloween, no matter what. I have five movies. One's kind of different. One maybe not many people might think of as a Halloween movie kind of deal. Um, but there's five movies that no matter what, once October hits, maybe even before, like I started watching a few of them before, like towards the middle of September. But there's some of these that literally it's an every year kind of deal that I watch. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a live top five. What's going on, Headless Video? I'm going to show off those movies. I'm going to talk about my 31 Days Half October series, which I do. This will be my third year running where I do a horror movie review every day for the month of October. But, you know, some people do it all the time and they'll do more, well-known, Halloween movies or Friday the 13th or whatever. Me, I do a little bit different. I do independent movies that most people probably haven't heard of. I do them in alphabetical order, and once I hit, the Z or whatever, I'll redo it and pick my top favorite movies after that. But that's what I have coming in the month of October, so everyone should be on the lookout for that. You'll see movies you never heard of before, most likely, because there's some that, I pick up randomly or are part of a collection or anything like that. But let me get into that first, and then we'll talk movies if I see enough people in here. But like I said, the top five, I'm going to show off the top five movies that I watch literally every Halloween, October, whatever you want to call it. Around this time, once fall hits, these are the movies I watch all the time. I try not to watch them during the year because I like to hold off during this time of the year, and then I'll watch it then. This first one, not many people would consider like a Halloween movie, I guess you would want to call it, but for some reason I watch it every October. No questions asked. It's actually one of the first movies I ever watched regarding horror that kind of got me into the whole thing. And when people ask about the premise of this movie, I tell them the premise of the movie. And if they haven't seen it, they look at me like I have 10 heads. And the movie is Killer Clowns from Outer Space. This one, literally, this one I'll watch throughout the year too. The other ones I try to hold off till around this time in October. I'll hold off. But Killer Clowns from Outer Space I'll watch every October. For some reason, like I said, this is the first horror movie, really, if you would call it a horror movie. It's a horror comedy movie kind of deal that I watch every Halloween, every October. Like I said, this one I'll watch throughout the year too. But this one is just one that I've watched for my entire life. Like I said, I probably watched this movie when I was 10 years old, had no idea what I was watching, but it actually got me into the horror genre, I guess you want to call it. It's more of a horror comedy. It's not really scary, but it definitely got me into that whole horror genre. So this is one I watch all the time. This one is a recent, I wouldn't call it recent, but when did this come out? It came out in, what year is 2009. So ever since 2009, besides Creepshow 2, there weren't many anthology movies that I like Creepshow, but I like Creepshow 2 better. After that, there weren't many anthology films that I like. Cat's Eyes, all right, and stuff like that. But until this movie came out and I watched it, I dug this movie a whole lot. This is in my queue every time I try to watch. Every time the fall comes around and that Trick or Treat, definitely one of the better anthology films that have been put out in a long time. Recently there's more. There's Nightmare Cinema that I have back there. There's Tales of Halloween, which is really good. Terror Theater, I think it's called, is another one. They've been putting out more and more interesting anthology film. So, but this one takes the cake. I really like it a whole lot. They're supposed to be making a second one, I guess, relatively soon. Then you got like the ABCs of Death that are pretty good. They have 1, 2, and 3. No, they only have 1 and 2 for ABCs of Death, but they do have VHS, which is another anthology, and they have 3 of those. The third one's really not that good. VHS 2 is pretty good, and VHS I like them the most out of all 3. But Trick or Treat is another anthology film. If you haven't seen it, definitely go ahead and check it out. This one I posted on my Instagram that I watched last night, and it's definitely one that every Halloween, every Halloween, I must say, I have to watch this movie, and it's Ernest Scared Stupid. I eventually have to upgrade it to a Blu-ray, but I'll keep it on DVD right now. I believe they have most of the Ernest films on Blu-ray, so eventually I'll pick it up on Blu-ray and then end up just upgrading it and then giving this away or something like that. But this is every year I gotta watch this movie no matter what. Ernest Scared Stupid, probably one of my, to tell you the truth, is probably up there for top 25 movies that I enjoy the most. It doesn't have to doesn't matter about season or whatever, but this is definitely one of my favorite movies of all time. Ernest Scared Stupid. The more I watch it, the dumber it gets, but it's still one of those movies that I watched when I was a kid that I always have to end up watching. But Ernest Scared Stupid, that's another one I have to watch. This one is, just, I guess, before its time, I guess you want to call it. All claymation and all that kind of stuff. This is before CGI and all that. So watching the behind the scenes of this movie make me like it even more, where they had to move each individual person, all these different ways, and they had different heads for these people. And the movie is Nightmare Before Christmas. This is another one that is a must watch for me all the time around fall time. Like I said, before CGI, before all that, it's all a little claymation, and they had to move the characters every so slightly, and that's how they moved. I mean, it took forever to do, and that's practical effects at its best kind of deal. And this is a must watch for me. And some people said they can't stand this movie anymore or whatever, and they said, some people I heard say it doesn't hold up, but still one of my favorite movies of all time. Hocus Pocus. This is the steel book from last year that everybody was looking for at one point in time, that Best Buy only had. It only went to certain Best Buys and stuff like that, but this one I had to go and snag up. It's the the book and whatever, but Hocus Pocus is another movie that I have to watch all the time. I mean, I don't have to, but I want to. Every fall, every Halloween, once September hits, the end of September, going into October, I must watch it. It's a must watch. Like I said, some of these I try to hold off during the year. I'll pop in, maybe once in a while I'll pop it in if I just don't have a movie to watch or anything like that. But those are the top 5 movies that I watch, like I said, religiously every year without a, hesitation. If I'm looking for a movie to watch around this time, those 3 are ones that I'm always popping in and checking out. For those of you who are watching, what are some of yours? Are any of these movies in your queue or that you watch all the time? If anybody wants to answer or whatever. But the other thing, like I said, I wanted to talk about in this video is it's starting October 1st, which is, I believe, next Wednesday, I think, is October 1st. So that is when I'm going to start doing the 31 Days Half October series. I never really promoted it beforehand. I kind of just started it up. So this time I want to, at least let people know that that's what I do, that expect a horror movie review for the entire month of October. Like I said, I pick a new movie every day. Yes, I love Ernest Scared Stupid. Yeah, definitely one of the better. I love the Ernest movies, but it's definitely the top Ernest movie for me. By the way, Dominic, I sent out your movie today, so I don't know exactly how long it's going to take to get to you, but expect probably within the next hopefully by the middle of next week. So your movie, The Condemned, is on its way. For those of you who are wondering, Monday nights are going to be my new, giveaway, I guess you want to call it. I'm going to start doing, hopefully every Monday, try to do a giveaway, a movie a night for Mondays, and then Monday night I'm going to talk about a whole bunch. I enjoy The Evil Dead and Cabin Fever. Okay, definitely Evil Dead and Cabin. Now the Cabin Fever, the original Cabin Fever, or the one that they decided to all of a sudden out of nowhere have a remake of Cabin Fever when they had 10 years beforehand they did it. So to tell you the truth, not gonna lie, the remake of Cabin Fever wasn't that bad. I mean, it was literally almost carbon copy of the original, but to tell you the truth, it wasn't that bad. I've seen worse remakes, reboots, whatever you want to call it, but I didn't mind Cabin Fever whatsoever. But like I was saying, 31 Days, Half October is my series. If you want to go back and check out my other ones, like I said, most people do, the Friday the 13th or the Halloween movies, or I've seen, black and white movies or anything like that. Me, for my whole channel, I try to do more independent movies, more movies that most people might not have heard of. I try to spread the word because I know a lot of, especially horror fans or just fans of movies in general, are kind of getting sick of the same premise for a lot of movies nowadays. So me, myself, I go towards the independent style movies, the movies that, because there's so many movies out there that a lot of people don't know about that I think don't see the light of day, and I think a lot of people would definitely dig because everybody's looking for random ideas or something like that. Some of them are just out there completely that they're entertaining. They might not be the greatest of movies, or they might be very odd or different, but they're going to be movies I remember for the longest time. Nowadays, there's movies that kind of mesh into one of each other, if you know what I'm talking about, where you can't tell which movie is which. It kind of has the same plot line, not the same characters, but you say, a plot here, and it could be 6-7 different movies. So what I tend to do is go the independent route, the lower budget, the like the Scream Factories, the IFC Midnights, Epic Pictures. That's a collection I've been collecting now. They have 20 movies in that collection. I do the Horror Pack. If you guys check out my channel, if you don't know what Horror Pack is, it's a monthly subscription service. So I do that every month for their Horror Pack exclusives, which are movies that haven't been released on either Blu-ray or haven't been released at all or whatever, and they're kind of the distribution, I guess you want to call it, for that movie. So like I said, I do more, if you haven't checked out my channel, I do more independent movies. So that's what I do for the entire month of October. I do movies that maybe people haven't heard of. Sometimes I'll slip in, like I said, I'll do all in alphabetical order. So once I hit Z, maybe I'll throw in a movie that is more known, I guess you want to call it. But for the most part, I tend to do more movies that people should watch, should have heard of, and stuff like that. Nintendo 2009, what is going on? Like I said, I'm talking. I just did my top 5 Halloween movies, I guess you want to call it. The movies I watch every Halloween. A little recap for those of you who weren't here. Killer Clowns from Outer Space might not be, one that most people watch all the time, but for some reason, every October I got to watch this movie. The other one is Trick or Treat, the anthology film. If you haven't seen Trick or Treat, you definitely got to check that one out. Ernest Scared Stupid. This one I watch all the time. Every October, every fall time, Ernest Scared Stupid will be in my DVD Blu-ray player at some point in time. Nightmare Before Christmas is another one all the time. Every year I gotta watch it. And then of course Hocus Pocus. So those are the 5 movies that are in my queue or in my Blu-ray player every year. Without a doubt, I'll be watching those all the time. I love Killer Clowns. Like I said, Killer Clowns was definitely the first movie that I remember watching when I was younger that got me into horror. It's definitely not your slasher, I wouldn't call it scary per se at all. I wouldn't, but it's one of those movies that when I was younger, I had no idea what I was watching, and I tried to tell people about it, and they had no idea what the hell I was talking about. Yeah, you gotta, you know, put people in cotton candy. These clowns came down from outer space and they sucked people's blood through straws, and they put them in cotton candy, and you got to pop their nose to kill them or whatever. That I kind of say is the movie that got me into my whole horror movie binge, my horror into the genre horror movies, and the movie that got me back into horror because at one point in time that kind of got the same, and I kind of left the horror genre, I guess you want to call it, until, like I said, if people have seen my videos or seen me on the Dorkening, my subgenre that I watch all the time for horror movies is I enjoy The Burning. Okay, The Burning, to tell you the truth, I never watched it for the longest time, and then I finally bought it from the Scream Factory. I might have to watch it again because watching like Friday the 13th, I like that a little bit better than The Burning, but again, I don't think I gave it 100% chance. So I definitely got to rewatch The Burning itself. But I do have that over there. But the movie that kind of brought me back into horror movies, again, it's not a quote unquote horror movie, but it has some guts and gore and all that stuff. And it's Turndale versus Evil. If you've never seen this movie, I think you definitely got to check it out. My buddy told me for the longest time I had to watch it. Never really gave it a chance, but when I watched it, I sat down, and it's one of my favorite horror movies of all time. Like I said, it's a horror comedy, I guess you want to call it, but that one kind of brought me back into it as well. My oddball movie that got me into horror was Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Maximum Overdrive. Yeah, that's definitely one. With what's his name? I can't even think of his name now. Emilio Estevez, and then the freaking clown truck and all that stuff. Maximum Overdrive is definitely one that another one where all the machines come to life and start killing people and stuff. That one scene with the vending machine where the father's going to get some soda or whatever, and then it shoots him in his head. That was one of the first movies too that I think I ever saw a kid die, where the kid's trying to run away from the big lawnmower, and then he falls off his bike, and then it just runs him over. I remember that. Yeah, that's definitely one. I got that somewhere in my collection. I don't remember if I upgraded that to Blu-ray or not, but I know I do own the movie. That one actually cost me a little pretty penny, to tell you the truth, because the DVD was out of print. So I think I paid like $30 for that movie when, back then my limit used to be like 10, but then I'm like, hey, if I want a movie that, might be out of print, I'll kind of pay a little bit more for it. I think I ended up paying like $30 for it, but then they did upgrade it, and I think it has a Blu-ray release as well. But going back to The Burning, I think I have to give it another shot because, like I said, I do own it. It's in my Scream Factory collection over here. But like I said, when I kind of everybody portrayed it or kind of compared it to the Friday the 13th movies, so it's one of those deals where I think I gotta sit down and watch it again. Gonna get some water because my throat is a little parched. But yeah, those are one of my top 5 movies. What else? Yeah, I guess going back to 31 Days Half October, what I used to do the first year, I would take people's suggestions, or they would tell me what movie to watch too. But that was before I started doing my own, like I said, it was before I called it 31 Days Half October. And then my buddy, the 13th Wolfman, one of the other, Dorkening members, I guess you want to call it, he started really amping it up. So I'm like, why not? So this will be the 3rd annual 30 Days Half October series. So if you're interested and you want, new movies to watch, especially horror movies for Halloween or just horror movies in general, I'd say tune in every day for the entire month of October, and you'll end up watching me do my thing with my series, I guess you want to call it. There was something else I wanted to talk about, but it's kind of escaping me. Oh yeah, like I said, Monday nights I'm gonna try to do. Not gonna try to do. I'm going to do a live stream every Monday, and Dominic was a lucky member to what I'm gonna do is give away a movie every Monday. What I wanted to do is get enough people in there to kind of do like trivia and stuff to give away a movie. But I have so many doubles that I got from either Scream Factory, or it's one of those things where I had a copy and then there was a collector's edition or something like that I just upgraded. So every Monday, tune in. Gonna try to go live at like 9 o'clock at night, and then stream for about an hour if it, goes longer than that. Triborough Gigolo, he's another winner. They were just happened to be there at that time, and I'm like, yeah, I'll just give away movies. So Triborough won American Mary, which I got his address and I sent it out, and then Dominic won the other one. He sent his address the other day, so I sent his movie out today. So it should be there relatively soon. Triborough, I think it took like 3 days to get to you. So Dominic, I think like I said, unless it's Sunday, probably has no mail, so maybe midweek, so maybe like Thursday or Wednesday or Thursday or something like that. But no problem, Triborough. Like I said, I have so many movies that just sitting here. It's might as well you guys sit here and watch my stuff. So why not give stuff away? Like I said, I wanted to do a big giveaway for when I hit 1,500 subscribers on YouTube. I still have that plan. I still got some big stuff that I have just sitting here. So once that happens, I'll do a whole channel giveaway. But I'm gonna start doing like I said, live stream giveaways every Monday, movie giveaway Monday, whatever I'll call it. But then what I also want to do is, especially for this month, because we're having some bigger name guests on the Dorkening this month. So Mondays are just gonna kind of give a little sneak peek, or get everybody amped up for Tuesday nights, because we do live streaming Tuesday nights on the Dorkening. This month we will have, I don't know what date yet, but we'll have Lloyd Kaufman for Troma. I believe we have Kane Hodder slated in for one of the weeks. The guy that runs it, Leo, he has he said this month we're trying to plan some bigger guests. Our last Tuesday was a tribute to Sid Haig. So that's what we did last week. Pretty much sat there for about an hour, talking about the stories, talking about the movies he was in, talking about, which movies we enjoyed the most. So if you're interested, if you want to know the ins and outs of certain movies and stuff like that, definitely check out the Dorkening every Tuesday night. It's the Wicked Horror Show, where we'll have a guest on for about an hour and talk about a movie that they're in. So if you ever wanted to know the ins and outs of movies, or why the certain things happen, like if you're watching a movie and a certain scene just didn't seem the way it should have, or something along those lines, you never know the whole behind the scenes kind of deal. So many a times that you think what's going on, they might have either ran out of time, ran out of money, someone got injured during shooting, and you only have a certain window to do it, so they had to kind of work with what they had. So there's plenty of times, when you're watching a movie and it doesn't just seem right, there's many things that could have happened at that point in time where you think, like I said, before I did the Dorkening, I wouldn't give certain movies a chance. And then actually sitting down and talking to the people behind it, whether it be, the actors or the director or the producer or whatever have you, just hearing some of the horror stories that go on behind it, or if they go and try to give it to distribution company and they try to, cut up the movie. Like if you say, oh, I would have did that movie different, 95% of the time, probably the writer and director and all this stuff probably would have did it the way you wanted to, or you would have did it. But the fact is, a lot of these companies nowadays are just, they just want what they want, and to get the movie out and get, some reimbursement, you kind of got to deal with what they want, like certain amount of boobs or certain amount of gore, or certain amount of blood, or certain whatever. They have their kind of checklist that they kind of go by, and it might not be the movie that you want to see, but it's a movie that they want to see, and kind of just makes for a bad, I wouldn't call it a bad movie a lot of times, but it makes for a movie that maybe they didn't see. So a lot of times, if you want to see like an authentic movie, you're gonna have to go digging for it, because some of the times people will put out movies by themselves without a distribution company, and it's like a movie like that. If you haven't seen it, guys, is Pieces of Talent. I just pulled this one out. I got 4 covers of this movie, but this one self-distributed. This movie is put out by Joe Stafford, and it's one of those movies you can tell it's his vision and stuff like that. So there's only certain movies that you're going to see that are just like what they were supposed to be, like meant to be kind of deal. But then there's other ones that, get watered down, or are the, spitting image of the company, of the distribution company, as opposed to, what the director actually wanted. So, but I see people coming in and out. If you couldn't tell by the title, I was doing a top 5 movies. So for those of you who weren't here, my top 5 movies for the Halloween season: Killer Clowns from Outer Space, Trick or Treat, the Ernest Scared Stupid. I don't know why I said but Ernest Scared Stupid, Nightmare Before Christmas, and Hocus Pocus. Those are the 5 movies that are will always be in my Blu-ray player every fall, every Halloween season, every October. For those of you who are watching that came in, what are some of yours? We were talking about The Burning. We talked about Maximum Overdrive. We talked about what else? The Evil Dead and Cabin Fever and stuff like that. So for those of you who just joined, what are some of your movies? What are movies that are your go-to, I guess you want to call it, that every October you'll sit down and watch. So as I put Pieces of Talent back, like I said, it's movies like that you have more appreciation for, because it's definitely the vision of the director or the writer or something like that. It's not someone else's idea put out on film. So as I take another drink, the other thing, like I was saying, the Monday nights I wanted to are going to go live every Monday at 9:00. So if you're interested, I'm probably going to give at least one movie away, whether it be trivia or have like a spinning wheel kind of deal. I don't know how I'm going to do that unless I do it on my phone or something like that. But my scheme was having like a trivia question at some point in time, and then having you try to answer the question. What else? I had all this stuff, in my mind that I wanted to talk about in this live stream, but as I record and that's a lot of the times too when I'm doing my videos, like, are you a fan of Halloween 3? Yes, I am. I mean, I was like, Halloween franchise isn't really, my top. So I know a lot of, Halloween enthusiasts and stuff are, I enjoy Sleepaway Camp. Sleepaway Camp are definitely, we had Felissa Rose on our podcast. She's an awesome girl. So that series is fun. But with the Halloween 3, there's so many, I want to say every Halloween enthusiast hates it, but it's I think people wouldn't mind it as much as if they didn't use the Halloween title, if they didn't call it Halloween 3 and they called it just Season of the Witch kind of deal. But once they put that moniker, put that Halloween 3, Season of the Witch on it, I think most people didn't didn't give it a chance. I myself enjoyed it because it is, a little bit different. I enjoy anthology films, so it had its own feel to it. But yeah, me myself, I liked it personally. But I know a lot of people that don't like it, that didn't give it a chance, that call it, you know, I don't want to say the worst movie they ever seen, but I know a lot of people that don't like it. But me myself personally, I do enjoy Halloween 3. But sleepaway camps, they kind of, the second one was comparable to the first one, I guess you want to call it. Maybe not comparable. I like the first one the most. But as they kept on going and going and going, it was just kind of like, the same storyline and some of the same deaths and stuff. But, I have all four. I have the three in the Scream Factory, and then I do have the fourth one in on DVD, and that's in my closet. But Sleepaway Camp series, did you enjoy the other ones besides the first one with that nice reveal at the end? You tell people to just wait till the end of Sleepaway Camp and, just wait for that one scene, one of the more iconic scenes of that series. But yeah, like I said, we had Felissa Rose on, who's now, Scream Queen in her own right. She was in the Hatchet. Victor Crowley, she's in a whole bunch of stuff. So we had her on to sit down and talk about sleepaway camps and all that stuff. Camp Dread, she was in as well. She talked about that. Really nice lady, takes time to sit down and talk to her fans. But which, out of all four sleepaway camps, I'm sure the first one's your favorite, but I could be wrong. Did you enjoy the other ones a little bit more than Sleepaway Camp? But what else? Like I said, I had a whole. I should start writing down what I want to do, because halfway through I kind of forget. Like even in my own videos, in the middle of everything, I'm trying to think of stuff or remember what I wanted to talk about, and in the middle of it, it kind of just goes off, and I'm just like, then I'm rambling and stuff like that. I was going to talk about something else, but I can't think of it. Oh yeah, I'm kind of gonna give a little sneak peek, I guess you want to call it, at my 31 days. One of the companies that I've been buying from, Epic Pictures Group. Well, it's Dread Central. It's Dread Presents. Epic Pictures have been putting out 2 and 3 were good. 4 was just silly. Yeah, that's as especially in a lot of these series, I guess you want to call it, the deeper into the series they get, especially like Wrong Turn, which I heard they're gonna make, I don't know, like a remake of the first Wrong Turn, or make a Wrong Turn Bryn, and I guess they just don't have specific plot lines that I can continue with. They kind of get more and more silly and out there and stuff like that. What's another series like the Ghoulies? The Ghoulies, I enjoyed all 4, especially Ghoulies Go to College, which was one of the harder movies to get. But actually, the 4th Ghoulies kind of was garbage. But the first 3 Ghoulies were fun. I like the first one a lot, and then they kind of just got more silly and goofy and stuff from there. But Epic Pictures Group, they put out Dread Central Presents, or Dread Presents kind of deal. They have 20 movies out so far. Probably going to do a bunch of those for my reviews, but the first movie I'm doing is a movie called Arctic. I believe that's how you pronounce it. But that's going to be my first, if you're interested, my first day for 31 days, half October. So that's going to be up there. But I'm going to be talking about a whole bunch of those. That's what I wanted to kind of promote and talk about is Dread Presents, or Epic Pictures movies. What else? Probably going to have some of the newer Scream Factory titles in there. What else? I didn't think I'd be talking for 30 minutes straight. Want to see Rob Zombie's new movie? Oh, the Three from Hell. I think that comes out in 2 weeks actually on physical media, which I'll eventually get. I enjoy Silver, very funny. Silver Bullet, is that, or oh, Sliver? Oh yeah, that's the one with the what do you want to call it? The slugs or whatever that kind of take over the whole town and stuff. Sliver, that one I haven't seen in the longest time. I remember I got that when it first came out, and then haven't seen it since. But Rob Zombie's, I'm guessing you're talking about Three from Hell, which we were actually talking about that the other day because unfortunately Sid Haig died, so we had a tribute video to Sid Haig on the one podcast I do. But he was only in that movie for, I think, like they said, no more than a couple minutes because at that point in time he was, sick and stuff. But we had Dee Wallace on our podcast where she was saying that this movie, The Three from Hell, is definitely crazy, definitely out there, and definitely, more disturbing or more, in your face, I guess you want to call it, than Devil's Rejects, where I'm sure if you've seen Devil's Rejects, that movie was, intense. And this one, Three from Hell, is supposed to be even, up a notch. So I'm actually can't wait to see. I didn't go to the theaters to see it, but I think it comes out October 8th, I believe. If I remember right, I think it comes out in 2 weeks. So at that point in time, that's a movie I will be picking up to add to the collection. Which I do have to, speaking of that, I do have to upgrade Devil's Rejects and what do you want to call it? House of a Thousand Corpses. I want to see if I believe they both have a Blu-ray release, so I have to pick that up because I don't have those on Blu-ray. What else? Kind of ran out of stuff I wanted to talk about. So if there's any movies that you want to talk about, or like I said, any movies that you watch around this time that are every fall, every October kind of deal, let me know. I guess in the comments. What else? Like I said, I should write down more things or every topic I wanted to hit because I didn't hit most of the topics that I wanted to, but I know there was more. I've been live streaming. The first time I did it, it was more, I guess, effective because I actually showed the episode. But American Horror Story, if you guys haven't been watching that, that I think this season will definitely be my favorite. The past two live streams that I did, it had to do with American Horror Story. So I'm excited for that one for 1984, the whole slasher vibe to it, I guess you want to call it. It's definitely more up my alley. The other seasons I've been watching more of, they're pretty good, but this one definitely, hits home. Definitely more up my wheelhouse, or in my wheelhouse, should I say. Up my wheelhouse definitely didn't sound very it sounded disgusting actually, but in my wheelhouse, this slasher vibe, this slasher style, definitely one of the cooler aspects with like two killer. Well, I don't want to give too much away, especially if you haven't been watching it, but if you haven't, I'd say definitely go ahead and try to. I believe they play. No, I don't think so. I don't know if they do like a replay or if they have it on demand or whatever. But if you haven't seen the first two episodes, I highly recommend you find some way to watch them because I personally like them and I know they're digging it. So it's definitely, definitely one for, a lot of horror fans out there. I think they're hitting that other element, I guess you want to call it. Besides the first one being that whole haunted house, the rest kind of just went off on other tangents like Asylum. Freak Show, I guess, could technically be considered, more of a horror type of show at that point in time. But, Cult and Coven and stuff like that really wasn't, in my, aren't ideals or aren't plots that I'm always looking for. Like, never really was into witches, so the Coven one really didn't sit down to watch, or Asylum. That one I like a little bit more, but the other ones just weren't really what I'm looking for, especially in horror movies, weren't ones I was looking for. But 1984 is definitely one that if you're into slasher movies, talking about The Burning, talking about Friday the 13th and stuff like that, it has a little homage to all those type of movies, all those type of films, all those type of genres. So if you haven't checked it out, I say definitely go ahead and check it out. That's what I've been trying to do every Wednesday is stream. Like I said, the first time I streamed it, I showed the episode and had a whole bunch of people here, and at that point in time I got myself in trouble, or the video got tagged, so can't do that anymore. But I was trying to have like a live stream, live commentary kind of deal, but I guess no one really wanted to do that as much. But I'll keep on trying, I'll keep on going, and see if it catches on. But hopefully everybody who's been tuning in, either watching it live now or tuning in for the later section of this where you check it out after it's live, hopefully it's entertaining enough where you can watch it, enjoy yourself. I like the fact that doing it live, I can interact with everybody at that point in time. I like hearing what other people think about a certain movie, or I'm thinking about doing reviews on here and then hearing what people think, if they agree with me, if they didn't like the movie and I liked it, or if I didn't like the movie as much and they liked it, kind of deal. I like the being able to conversate with people as everything's going on. So that's why I want to do lives, I think, more often, just because it's the interaction between my viewers, I guess you want to call them, my subscribers, and I like to hear everybody's thoughts. This movie here, as I'm talking about reviews and stuff, I picked up this movie the other day. It's all right. It's called something else. It's this I picked it up and it's called Seven Deadly Sins here, but the movie I think is called like Charlie or something like that. Put up by Gravitas Ventures. They put out a whole bunch of these lower budget movies, but this one's about that game where you put like two pencils on top of each other, whatever. You seen Summer 84, just picked it up, reminded me of Stranger Things. It was pretty good. Yes, definitely. I got it, when it first came out. Actually, where is it? Right there. So it's one of those, it definitely reminded me of like a Stranger Thing meets like, what do you want to call it? Like Stand By Me kind of deal where they, find a dead body and all this stuff. It was definitely really cool aspect. In the beginning, I'm like, this doesn't really seem like a horror movie. And then towards the end of it, I was just like, okay, that's where it is. The first half kind of seemed like it was more of a, like coming of age kind of movie. And then towards the end, that's when you got your, your thriller / scary / whatever you want to call it type movie in there. Especially that one scene. I was just like, okay, that's where that scariness comes from. But yeah, that's definitely one that I think a lot of people should check out. I remember posting it on my Instagram and like, what the hell is that? And I'm like, it's definitely a movie you guys should all check out. Is Summer of '84. But yeah, it definitely has that like definitely see that Stranger Things vibe, but definitely has that like Stand By Me kind of meets Stranger Things, even though Stranger Things has more of a sci-fi feel to it. Except for this last season of Stranger Things, I think it's my favorite because it kind of the first season of Stranger Things kind of had a sci-fi feel to me. Then the second one had more of a a little bit more of a horror trope, I guess you want to call it, gore and stuff. And then its third season kind of just went straight. I didn't think sci-fi as much as gore and scary and stuff like that. So speaking of Stranger Things, this third season is definitely my favorite. Some people like it the least, and they like the first season, second season, third season. I see myself going backwards. I like the third season, second season, and then the first. Not saying the first is bad by any means. Definitely one of my favorite shows out there. It's one of those shows that every season I streamed within just 8 hours. So then I got to wait. Last year I watched the second season, and I had to wait like a year and a half for the third season. And who knows when the fourth season's coming out? Fourth season's supposed to be the last one, so I want to see what they can do with it. Because I could. Everybody's saying the storyline's kind of getting old and bland, but me myself, I enjoy it. To tell you the truth, I could see a couple more seasons of this. It's some of the things are the same, but it's different enough where every season is you can tell the seasons apart. Now, if you couldn't tell season one from season three, then I'd be like, okay, it's kind of getting old, it's kind of getting watered down or something like that. But me myself, I see a difference in every single season. So until seasons kind of run into each other, I'll enjoy watching it and I'll continue to watch it. So, but yeah, Stranger Things is definitely, besides Stranger Things and The Walking Dead, those are the only two real TV shows I watch. I'm more of a movie fan, if you couldn't tell from behind me. I'm more of a movie fan as opposed to a TV show fan. But Stranger Things, you know, Stranger Things, now the American Horror Story, this season American Horror Story. Have you seen True Blood? I watched it here and there. I do own the whole collection. When they had they had a sale at Best Buy for all the seasons on HBO. That was the one thing I never had HBO. So every once in a while we used to go to my buddy's house to watch True Blood, and then what was right after that, the Entourage. And then I wouldn't see every episode. We kind of miss it here and there. I haven't seen every season, but to tell you the truth, from the episodes I did see of True Blood, I enjoyed. Again, not the biggest of vampire fans, but you can't go wrong with what's her name? I can't even think of her name now. Um, the main girl in there, she's cute. But yeah, True Blood, to tell you the truth, isn't bad. But eventually, I can sit down and watch, like I said, watch the whole series if I ever get a chance to, because I do own it on Blu-ray. But what do you think of it? I'm guessing you dug it if you're asking the question. The only really vampire trope, I guess you want to call it, that I definitely enjoyed was Twilight. Kidding. The only vampire, well, there's a few movies. Lost Boys. I definitely enjoy Lost Boys. I enjoy, vampires. John Carpenter's Vampires. What else is a decent vampire type movie? Interview with a Vampire technically is not a horror movie, but it has its little trope in there. The old school Dracula. I guess I like that. The more I get into the older black and white stuff, the more I enjoy it. I guess I like more vampire movies than I thought, to tell you the truth. At that point in time, the only ones I really thought I'd like was The Lost Boys and Vampire, but Let Me In was okay. Yeah, that's true. And the Let Me In was what? The American? No, which one was the American one and the one was Swedish? Let Me In is, I think, the American one, and then what the hell is the other one? I can't think of it. They're the same movie, but one's American and one's Swedish, I believe. Let Me In and Let the Right One In. That's what it is. And which one is which? Now that I try to remember. over in the corner. I'm not even gonna attempt to find it because then I'll have to move things over. But Let Me In, I believe, is the American one, and Let the Right One In is the Swedish one. Could be completely wrong. I mean, I could check my phone actually just to see which one was which. That is the beauty of cell phones nowadays, right? Being able to. But the one with Chloe Grace Moretz is the American one, and that one I like her as an actress. So, let Let the Right One In was the Swedish one, and Let Me In was the USA one. So yeah, like I said, with Chloe Grace Moretz, I like her, so I enjoyed Let Me In as well. And then of course she did the remake of Carrie, which wasn't that bad of a movie. That's another remake that I don't mind watching. And then what else was she in that was kind of on the scarier side? Um, Let me look up. Let me pull up her IMDb because she was in a few besides Kick Ass. Kick Ass really isn't scary. She's in the Adams Family. Greta wasn't that bad. If you haven't seen that one yet, more of a thriller than a scary movie. Suspiria, um, definitely didn't like that as much as the original. What else was she in? That was technically a horror movie. Fifth Wave kind of sucked. Dark Places was all right. Um, it was in something else. I thought Dark Shadows. That was a remake in its own right. I think Dark Shadows was a um, what do you want to call it? A TV show back in the day. In the end, guess I'm thinking about someone else. Oh, The Eye. That was with Jessica Alba. That was another decent. That came around. The Eye came around in the time of the Ring and all that stuff. So that's when she was younger, of course. The Shining is your favorite. Stanley Kubrick stuff, very different for me, but I can see where you would like it. Are you going to go see uh, the new one? I first thought they were going to call it Red Rum, but it's not called. I forget what it's called now. I guess the sequel to The Shining. Um, you know, Jack Nicholson definitely portrays a nice crazy person. Doctor Sleep. You're gonna go see Doctor Sleep when it does come out. Like I said, it looked pretty interesting. Kind of, I mean, the trailers kind of make it look like it's just gonna be, The Shining 2, like just the son kind of following in the father's foot. I mean, like I said, myself always say to myself, I'm not gonna let trailers kind of dictate what I'm gonna think of the movie because a lot of times either the stuff in the trailer isn't even in the movie or it's just so askew that you don't even doesn't give any portrayal of what the movie's going to be. But from the trailer it kind of looks like it's going to be like a rehash or retelling or kind of like the same the same thing kind of deal, but which wouldn't be too bad. And like I said, with Stanley Kubrick stuff I was kind of but yeah, The Shining, like I said, is is a certain movie that when I watched it, I was very young, so I didn't understand it as much. I mean, it's not very hard to understand. One of those things where you just kind of go stark raving mad, and then you go try to kill your entire family. But yeah, I think I appreciated that more the older I got. When I was watching it when I was younger, didn't appreciate it as much as I think I do now. Um, but probably if I had to pick one of my favorite movies, horror movies, like I said, Killer Clowns from Outer Space would always be the one that got me into the game. But if I had to pick some of my favorites, um, recently I watched a couple of years ago. I watched it for my 31 days. It's a movie called Splinter. That one's a really good movie that I didn't know about. It's put out by Magnet Pictures. That one's definitely one I think a lot of people um, that enjoy creature features would definitely enjoy. It's one that fell under my radar, and then I saw it years after it came out, and I'm like, where did this movie come from? It's one that I enjoyed a whole bunch that I don't think gets the limelight that it should. That one's definitely up there for one of my favorites. Um, Tucker and Dale versus Evil is another one that just kind of brought my whole love of horror back. Even though it's a horror comedy, but it's one of those things where it's very gory. It's over the top. It's it's a fun take on a horror movie. But if we're going straight up slashers, if I had to pick between Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street or Texas Chainsaw Massacre or Hellraiser or anything like that, I think my favorite franchise out of all of them is the Friday the 13th, followed by the guy from Road Trip is in it. Was pretty good. Oh, did it already come out? I guess I completely missed it. But to tell you the truth, the other series that I definitely dig that the movie just came out, the reboot, remake, or whatever, that to tell you the truth is another reboot that wasn't too bad. Definitely better than I thought it was going to be. Definitely enjoyed the first one, the original better, but Child's Play, this one, to tell you the truth, wasn't that, that bad of a movie. I thought I was going to, kind of hate it, but, different telling of it, a retelling, kills were actually pretty cool. It's like an updated movie for like 2019 where, I didn't know what the whole plot was going to be about. I thought it was going to be like a carbon copy where, again, Chucky gets possessed, but this one is just, new, updated, kind of like Terminator style where the machines revolt against you kind of deal where you didn't know if it was going to, what the machines could do and they could turn evil and kind of go ahead and kill you. But to tell you the truth, I didn't expect that out of the movie. Once I saw it and I saw the way that Chucky looked, I was like, definitely probably not going to be for me. But, not that bad of a movie. If you haven't seen it already, I actually, would recommend it if you're looking for a movie to sit down and, watch for the night, entertaining enough to, keep your interest, and it's not half bad, to tell you the truth. Do I like it more than the original? No. Probably if I had to put it in the whole slew of things, probably kind of fit between definitely better than Seed, definitely better than Curse of Chucky. I like I like the first three Child's Play. I like Cult. Bride was all right. Seed of Chucky was garbage. Curse of Chucky was eh. So it probably fit in between. Probably be Child's Play, Cult of Chucky, Child's Play 2, Child's Play 3, then the new Child's Play, then Bride of Chucky, Curse of Chucky, and then Seed of Chucky. Like Seed of Chucky, I think I just didn't like. That's my least favorite out of all of them. So it's definitely in that order. But to tell you the truth, like I said, if you're looking for something to watch and you were iffy about it, I'd say definitely go ahead and check out Child's Play, the reboot, remake, rehash, whatever you want to call it. This one I haven't checked out, but I did pick it up. Probably end up watching it tonight before I go to bed. That's the second happy, what is it, Happy Death Day to You, as opposed to Happy Death Day. This is the sequel where I heard decent things with it. And the first one I liked. It was entertaining enough. I don't know what they could do with the second one, but this movie was cheap enough. It was always 22 everywhere I went. I'm like, like a wait for Black Friday kind of deal. But then I saw on Amazon it went down to $12. So I'm like, probably save a little bit more on Black Friday. Probably get it for like $8. Even cheaper, maybe $6. But I'm like, $12 isn't that bad. So I'll pick it up now and see what the whole thing's about. Eventually sit down and watch it. I got it 2 days ago and still haven't sat down and watched it, but all right, so it is an hour in this live stream. I mean, if you guys want to talk a little bit more, let me know, and I'll definitely keep this going. There are, a couple people watching this. People were coming in and out and, probably just seeing me talk and stuff, so it probably wasn't interesting enough. But for those of you who have sat down and watched this entire thing on the replay, I thought life was I was never into like aliens or anything like that. Sci-fi wasn't really my, cup of tea. So life was like, for what it was, I didn't hate it, but I also didn't like it as much as some people. I don't know. It's just sci-fi and stuff like that was never really my cup of tea. Even like the alien movies, I'll watch them. I don't mind them, but definitely weren't. Have you seen Would You Rather or The Green Room? I have seen both, and I dig both of them. Would You Rather actually got me really pissed off, to tell you the truth, but I guess that's what movies should do, because I remember the two guys that ran the whole thing. I wanted to just go through the screen and punch them in the face with their like pompous assholes, I guess. But Would You Rather, I definitely dug, and Green Room is part of the A24. If you haven't seen A24 movies, definitely go ahead and check those out. Green Room is A24. That one, just don't play certain music at a club of a bunch of just learn how to play certain music. But both of them I think are really good. I didn't know they were on Netflix, but I own both of them. I actually owned. If you're interested, maybe that'll be one of the movies I give away on a Monday live stream, because I do have 2 copies of Would You Rather. It's one of the movies I got from the horror pack that I had doubles of. So maybe that'll be one of the. Let me see if it's in this. Is it in this file? No, it's not. Where the hell is it? I might have put it away somewhere. But I do own both of them, and maybe that'll be Would You Rather be the next movie I give away. Keep those there for now. But to answer your question, yes, I saw both, and I dug both. Even though, like I said, Would You Rather definitely, wanted to. I wanted to jump through the screen and choke. I actually wanted to choke a few people, like Sasha Grey's character as well. She kind of pissed me off, and then she, Actually, I don't want to give away if anybody hasn't seen the movie. The way that she dies is, kind of sucky, because I watch it and I'm like, yeah. The one thing with certain movies is if a person dies in a way that is possible, then I find myself cringing even more and afraid even more when they die like in a plausible fashion, I guess you want to call it. Like some people, the deaths are just over the top, and you're like, most of the time it's not going to happen that way. But there's certain things. I remember the one in Saw where the girl gets thrown into the vat of freaking needles, and then she gets up and she has all these needles hanging from her and stuff. I cringed at that. That's the one I felt the most, because I know a lot of people hate needles, and just imagine getting picked up and tossed into a huge vat of just syringe needles and stuff like that, and then having them hang off you and get stuck in you and stuff like that. That I cringed at. So, would you rather had some of those things that might happen. If you like Would You Rather, now that I'm thinking of it, if you like Would You Rather, what the hell is the movie called now? Cheap Thrills. If you haven't seen that one, check that one out. It has it's different. It's a completely different movie, but it's one of those what would you do for money kind of deal. Like a couple offers these two guys a whole bunch of money to come hang out with them for the night, and the guys are like, "Yeah, free money." The one, what's her name, Sarah Paxton's in it, and she's hot, good-looking girl. And by the end of the night, it's kind of like, what would you do for money kind of deal, almost like Would You Rather kind of deal. But towards the end of the movie, they're the things that they ask these two people to do for the money gets worse and worse and crazier and stuff like that. So if you like Would You Rather, I say check out Cheap Thrills. But it looks like, numbers are dwindling down, and plus I got to get up for work early tomorrow morning. So it's put out by Draft House Pictures, I believe. If you look up Draft House, it's got Sarah Paxton. It's got who are the two main people. What's his face? He's been in a whole bunch of movies. They play a couple. David Koechner, Sarah Paxton, Ethan Embry's in it, and Pat Healy. Those are the four, main characters. Where do I have it? I should have it over here somewhere. I rearranged my whole movie collection, and then I can't find where I put my movies anyway. It's in a clear case, but I think you'll definitely dig Cheap Thrills if you if you haven't seen it. But like I said, I got work early, so try to do like an hour live streams here and there, especially Mondays. So if you're interested, come back Monday. Like I said, I'll be giving away a movie every Monday. So whether it be a random trivia question or a spinny wheel or something like that, I'll write down everybody's names, and then by the end of the thing, I'll record it or something to see who ended up winning. Stick around for the 31 Days Half October series, which I'm going to do the entire month of October. So if you're interested in finding new movies, like I said, I try to do more lower budget or independent titles that not a lot of people know about. So check out that. You can find out maybe 31 movies you never heard of before. And I guess that's really about it. So hopefully you guys, some of you guys like Tweeter and Headless Videos and stuff, you guys stayed, I'm guessing, for pretty much the whole stream. So hopefully you enjoyed it. But if you haven't already, I have a Twitter, Tony Has Nine Fingers. If you're interested, and if you have an Instagram, I show off movies on mine. Check out Tony's Movies, and I post almost daily of either the movies I'm watching at that point in time or movies I picked up or something like that. So I'll show pictures of that. And like I said, in the beginning or in the middle of this, I'm part of the Dorkening. So if you guys are interested, Tuesday nights we do the Wicked Horror Show, where we'll have either a guest. Sometimes we don't have a guest. If we don't have a guest, we'll just talk horror movies for about an hour. If we do have a guest, we'll talk whatever movies they're in, and then you kind of, we stream it live so you can ask questions. You can, learn about things, or if you're more interested in, audio podcast. We ripped the audio from that video and we posted on The Dorkening, pretty much wherever podcasts are streamed. So if you're interested in that, we do that. Everything. I mean, there's other shows on the network as well. So if you're not into just horror, if you want to hear other things, if you're into comics, they do a comic show and video games and stuff like that. They have a podcast for that. But I'm part of the Wicked Horror Show where we talk horror movies. So thank you, everyone who stuck around and listened and joined in and asked questions and talk movies. I can talk movies for hours. So thank you for showing up. For anybody who's watching this, after the fact, thank you. And I guess until my next stream, or until, I don't know if I'm going to come tomorrow night, or I guess until Monday. Like I said, everybody come, join, have a chance to win a free movie. And I guess until then, I'll see you guys. Have a good night.